Here we go. Peace. I love saying, has anyone had their peace disturbed lately? I don't think there's been a Sunday ever that I have given a sermon, that we have had a conversation where someone doesn't have very valid reasons to say, yes. I saw something in the news. I heard something. There was something that expressed itself in my presence, in my world, in my community, and I was disturbed. My peace was rattled. I was shaken. I'm upset. I don't like the way it's going. I don't feel good about this. We are in the second Sunday of Advent, and it is the Sunday of peace. The first Sunday is the Sunday of hope, or even better, the Sunday of faith. The perceiving power of the mind linked with the ability to shape substance. And hope is a vision committed to. Well, hope, they say, is a vision not committed to, but faith is the vision committed to. Hope is like, yeah, I hope it's going to happen. I hope. Faith is when you launch that vision and you have hope, but then you stand in it and you say, I'm going to be part of making it so. But we are in this season of Advent, and this Sunday is about peace. This Sunday is about peace. Now, this could be a Hallmark Sunday, right? We could have 4 Hallmark Sundays leading up to Advent. Faith, peace, love, joy, get a card, sign your name, send it Merry Christmas. That's how it could be. Every year in Unity, it's a rerun of these 4 topics. In the Advent liturgical calendar, it is a rerun of these 4 topics. These topics are not just ideas. They are fields of awakening. And they are fields of awakening that are necessary, required in fact, to welcome the Christ presence, to celebrate the birth. Because this season of Advent is about preparing ourselves for a dual birth, to celebrate the birth of the Christ presence, the first idea of unity in God consciousness, the first idea that we are not only human, but that we are divine, that we are here to be blessed, that we are here to be a blessing, that the Great Spirit is among us, and that everything is whole and integrated. That's the first celebration. And the second welcoming is the welcoming of the awakening within us and among us, individually and collectively. It is that collective consciousness. It is that birthing in each one of us, and faith, peace, love, and joy are part of that path. They are aspects of this birth. So what disturbs your peace? What disturbs your peace? Because we're here in this time and space to not have a Sunday morning experience, not have a 1 hour, 2 hour, whatever you want to call it, experience where we practice something. We're here to transform life. We're here to awaken. We're here to relieve ourselves of the anxiety, the stress, the pain, the suffering of the human condition. And we're here to be people of transformation because, as Richard Rohr said, transformed people transform people. And we know, too, hurt people hurt people. So when I don't do my work, I invite people into my pain. When I don't do my work, I pass on my pain. When I don't do my work, I prosper pain. How are you going to make Advent different this year? Are you going to sign the Hallmark card and send it away and wake up and it's a new year? And in that new year, live the same year again, the year you get every year, without growing up, without expanding, without awakening? Or are we going to do it differently? Make it meaningful. Get something so that we can give the gift to the world, because that's what this season is about. I was laughing, looking through old Fillmore talks, thinking about our Christmas Eve service, which, by the way, is 5 p.m. on Christmas Eve in this sanctuary. But I was looking at our Christmas Eve service and how it's going to evolve this year. And I'm laughing, looking at a Charles Fillmore talk, I think from either 1912 or 1924, and he starts going off on gift giving. and start saying how, oh my gosh, it's just taken over. It's ridiculous. All this focus on gift giving in the year 1912 or the year 1924. Could you imagine what he would think now? But there is a reason it's the season of gift giving. Because there's a greater gift, a spiritual gift that we can give. My little one, I accidentally just flew something into the conversation about something she saw, I guess, or that she liked, and I said, oh, we could put that on your Christmas list. And then I looked at her, and she kind of looked at me like this. I think I may even said your Christmas list for Santa. And she might be the only 3-year-old that does not understand a Christmas list or Santa yet, quite. And then I realized, I looked at her and I said, oh, you probably don't know what that means, do you? And I thought, this is the time to tell her, because it's right now happening. And I said, Christmas and Santa, it's about the spirit of Christmas. I didn't name Santa a man or a woman. I didn't say he's white or he's black. I said, it's the spirit of Christmas. And the spirit of Christmas comes each year to remind us that we are givers. To remind us that we are here to give and receive. And that that's our nature. So the spirit of Christmas, during this time every year, comes to remind us of who and what we are. I figured that's something I'm not going to have to undo someday. I'll say no more for the honor of the house. Are we willing to develop and deepen our capacity to share the gift of peace? To really share the gift of peace? Because if we are, it takes a practice. And if we are, there's no hallmarking about it. This is huge. Because the world will benefit infinitely from your practice of peace. From your consciousness around prospering peace. From your ability to give with your inheritance and your bequest, peace. So what disturbs your peace? And what do you do about it? How do you show up for the moments where your peace is disturbed? How long do you sit with it? Does it stay the same once it's activated? What does it look like? What does it look like when you're in the opposite of peace? What is your opposite of peace? Think about that for a moment. When you're not feeling peace, what word would you describe it as? Anxiety, stress, anger, pain, fear, criticism, judgment, discord, discontent, right? Fill in the blank. But we feel separate from peace. And it's for each one of us to look at and to notice really what that means for us. Really to identify it. Like if you have the word depression, that is not very helpful. That word is not very helpful. What is within it? What is within your depression? Abandonment, loneliness, what is it? What is within your lack of peace? When you're not feeling peace, do you know it? Do you know yourself enough to identify what is being rattled? You know, not to scare anyone here, but I said a prayer not too long ago. I've kind of been saying it for a while, but I wasn't really letting go. Do you know those prayers? Where you have a prayer, you're praying, but you're really not willing to deal with the consequences or the real wisdom that comes as the result of that prayer. So you know you're really not listening, so you really haven't launched it and let it go yet. Do you know what I'm talking about? You're like, I am almost praying about this if the answer is exactly what I want. But it's not like I am really praying about this, because I know when I'm really praying about this, that either I have to shift or I have to shift something. That either there is an external change or there is an internal change, or in the high and holiest of ways, there is often both. So I was doing this prayer about ministry life and my peace of mind and my life on this planet as a human, and kind of going like, can I do what I do and have the peace that I know I'm here to have? Can I continue doing what I do and have peace? Have less of these other things we filled in the blank with, right? The discord, the frustration, the this or that. And so I launched this. I finally did launch it, and I gave it a year. I'm looking and I'm listening. Okay. And then I moved my feet, right? So I did things with my very best friends to look at the patterns, to look at the systems that support my well-being and my mind, and to look at, like, where could I make a difference so that I can be part of the solution, which is in the motion of the direction that I would like my answer to be, right? And then I set some of those into motion, right? I set them into motion and I let go of them. And then, you know what happened? Batter up. Here's one ball. Broke that window. Here's another one. Here's another one. I can tell you, from launching the prayer to this moment, there have been broken windows, shattered glass, this and that. You name it. Whatever area where my brain would like to go, what I really want to know is if it could just be easier. I would really just like to know if it could just feel more nourishing, like if there could just be less conflict, if there could just be less big things, if there could just be less interesting things, if there could just be less of this and less of that, or less of that person and that person. I know, I said it. I did. It's not you. Don't worry. Then I could have peace. Then I think my answer will be yes. I can follow this guidance in this direction. And instead, what I have been getting is, here's some disruption. You think this is what your schedule's going to look like? Guess what? Let me just take the bottom out of that. You think this is what spiritual community is going to look like? You think you can have the stability of thinking you know what it's going to look like? Here's this. Why don't you start learning more? You think this is what you can expect from others or from a system or from the movement, whatever it is? Guess what? Here you go. So what one could be tempted to do is go, I got my answer, right? I got my answer. I am seeing that I cannot count on X, Y, Z to ever be the space that I am asking for so that I can handle this. Has anyone ever felt this in a relationship? If this and this and this could happen, and then you just get evidence, that's not changing, and that's not changing. So I should leave, right? That is one way to see the practice. Here's another way to see the practice. Another way to see the practice is to take the deep dive. I am looking for peace. I am asking for deeper peace. And I am saying with my mind, to the best of my ability in my human condition, these conditions need to be this way in order for me to have peace. These conditions need to be this way in order for me to have peace. These conditions need to be this way in order for, I feel like my little one right now sometimes when she gets a little upset, for me to have peace. As she would say, it's not fair, Mama. I don't know where she got that. It's just implanted in our genetic code. It's not fair, Mama. That's not the spiritual practice. With third eye seeing, with deep vision, and taking a deep dive, there's another way to look at it. I am here to heal the insanity within me that makes me think I have to or could ever control outer circumstances in order to create inner peace. And so what I get when I launch that prayer is I get the universe of life, the university of life, sitting there saying to me, oh, well, this is what you're going to get more of. This is what you're going to get more of. This is what you're going to get more of. So that I have the opportunity to do the inner work. To do Unity's fifth principle, which is action. It's not enough to know these principles, but it's mine to act on it. And to ask myself the question and to pray in the expansion of consciousness so that what perturbs me, irks me, drives me up and down a wall has nowhere to land anymore. Has nowhere to land anymore. So I could look at that moment in prayer and say, I've got my answer. I've got my answer. It's not going to happen. It's not possible. Or I could look at that prayer and say, I got my answer. I can now see enough into what disrupts my peace to know where my work is. Can you feel that? So can I demonstrate what is being called for me to get my answer to that question? Can I demonstrate the capacity to shift my consciousness so that I can no longer be a part of the problem? Therein lies my opportunity, and therein lies our blind spots. We like to think we're never part of the problem. Right? Look at anything going on in the world today. It's like everyone goes, well, I'm not part of the problem. And everyone's pretty good at identifying who is part of the problem, right? But it's not usually us. Answers aren't so cut and dry, especially not when they come from prayer. They're usually for us in some way. And here's what I know. It's not just can I get the expansion. It's that I am called to this expansion, period, because this is what's in my experience. This is what's in my field of awareness right now. And it's not so much about a decision, but it's a discernment. And sometimes, not always, sometimes, and I say not always because every analogy falls short, right? Unless you take it to your own headquarters. So you can't take what someone else says and apply it to yourself without prayer. Amen? Because if you're in an abusive situation or an abusive relationship or an abusive job or whatever it is, there are times when you just pray and you leave, right? Amen? But there are times where we're being called to more, and I would say even in fact in that situation, even though you make a physical change and you make a shift that's on the outer and that's on the external, you still are called to make the shift on the internal if you do not want to recreate the same experience. And I don't mean recreate it like you caused it and like you're the problem, but recreate it like it's allowed to be in my field for more than the 5 seconds before I walk away. Amen? So what we are called to do is to really look, and what I know about the path and the practice is that when I launch that prayer and then when I start seeing like this, the ego wants to go, oh, I got the answer. Look, there's the circus, not my monkey, not my circus, so I guess I'm going to have to sell the circus. And then when I really look, it's like, oh, it is my monkey, and I'm part of the circus. And when I pray the prayer of expand my consciousness, so that I am not participating in this, then I have raised it up, and then it won't be a prayer for an answer, because there won't be a question. I will be coming from my healed self. I will be coming from my wholeness, and it will be a prayer of gratitude, because it will be simply, thank you for growing me into what's next, whether or not that's this or whether or not that's that. Feel the difference? Peace. You can't have peace until life is in order. Can't have peace until you make a change. Can't have peace until. Is there anything you could fill in the blank with to make that statement true? You can't have peace until, try it. I can't have peace until, think about the things humanity has lived through, where they have still demonstrated deep spiritual peace within. People are incredible. The spirit within people is unlimited. We either get the answer, move, change something, or we get an expansion of consciousness. So the way that we participate in the disruption of our own peace is healed. The human condition, the human mind, the ego, thinks it's going to come from controlling the outer circumstances. If I could just be a good enough magician, if I could just be good enough at the law of mind action, I will never manifest a whatever again. Well, welcome to the human condition. Humans have been on this planet creating discord since the first humans were here. Are we going to wait for our peace? An affirmation is a statement of truth. A denial is not denying something that we see that is real. It's not science denial. It's not a denial saying, this isn't a bench. It's saying, this has no power over me. This has no power over me. Even this cannot disturb my peace. And when we find that not to be true, which many of us do very frequently in this experience of life, it just shows us where to affirm the truth. Because it is the truth. The master teacher always brought his disciples back to the teaching within. There was always an asking, a call. Can't you just please manipulate stuff on the outside? Come on, man. Fix it. You are so powerful. Just do it, man. Come on. Can't you? Can't you? Can't you? You're supposed to be one with God. You say this, you say that. You say the way, the light, the truth. Come on. Do it. Do it. Do it. And he left the physical plane. He left the political climate. He left all of that in the same condition. but what he gave to everyone willing to see was a far more powerful condition. It was a power to condition their minds, to be one with the great source of life, to recognize that there is no power, no authority over you. Not that he didn't heal, right? He healed. He demonstrated. He changed things too. But the deepest teaching was that the power is within you, that you don't need them, you don't need that, you don't need it. You are whole, you are holy. This is the human condition. Are you going to wait to have peace? Are you waiting for peace to schedule itself on your calendar? Because you might be waiting forever. Eckhart Tolle says, you find peace not by rearranging the circumstances of your life, but by realizing who you are at the deepest level. You are the way, the truth, and the life. The way to the source is right through your heart. This is the path. The master teacher, the awakened consciousness that we in Unity call the Christ consciousness, but you can call it whatever you want. You can call it enlightenment. You can call it awakening, but it is the way. That's why in early Christian teachings they called it the way. They called it the way, the path. And the master teacher was identified with this as me. The I am. I am is the way, the truth, and the life. Richard Rohr said, there is no path to peace, but peace is the path itself. May the Prince of Peace be born in you this Advent season. Namaste.